Hey YouTube, Race Car Driver Garage here. Got a little something I want to show you. This is a 2016 Corvette Stingray. One of my customers brought in. And there's old Freebird over there. This car has heads-up display. Right down in there. Shines up on the windshield, shows you how fast you're going, and some other information. Well, the customer called me about putting a windshield in it. That one's already been changed. We put him a new one in it. It was beat up pretty bad. It was the original windshield. So what I want to get to is, if you have a car with a heads-up display, now I'm not going to say all of them are, but so far, all of the GM cars that I've dealt with, from the pickups, Camaros, this Corvette, I did a Envoy, I think it was, the smaller SUV with the heads-up display, and the computer, the manufacturers, the dealers, all that tells you if you have heads-up display, you have to buy this specific windshield for these cars. And I'm here to tell you, they're trying to scam you. If you take your vehicle to a glass shop and it has heads-up display, and they tell you, oh, you got to buy this one with heads-up display, those windshields are very expensive. I think the windshield for this car with heads-up display was like $200 more than the one without. It may have been a little different than that, but it was, I know it was over $100 more. I'm pretty sure it was over around $200 or more extra for heads-up display. It's a scam, guys. If you take your vehicle to a glass shop and they tell you, oh, you got to have this one for that heads-up display to work, you call them, just straight up, either tell them, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to take it somewhere else, or just call them flat out a liar, because I'm going to show you something. This car here, I'm going to show you the part number, and then I'm going to do an either add on to this video or however my wife decides to edit it. Let's see if I can get something to put behind that so you can see the part number. Should have planned a little bit ahead on this. Let's see, a paper towel will work, just so you can see this, and I can show you by my computer and everything which part number is supposed to be in this car. Okay. You can see that. You see a part number 2026 DW. See that DW? That's your part number. DW 2026. All right. That part number is the part number for. It has lane departure and a couple other things. That's that little notch right there. If you can see that little cutout notch, that's for that lane departure camera to see through. And let me get a shot of this door here. That's how you, I don't know if you know anything about the Corvettes, but you push that button right there is how you open the door. It electronically opens the door. Don't really like that, because if you get something or another happens and this thing loses the electronics, you can't get out of these cars, because that little button, you hear that latch? Listen. So, in the case of emergency, something happens and that car loses the 12 volts. Here's the picture of the other door. These doors are made different. My son noticed that before I did. He was like, Dad, it looks like it's got two different kinds of doors on it. I was thinking to myself, yeah, left and a right, but doors are made totally different. And then on the driver's side, you push that button. Yeah. Kind of different if you're not used to Corvettes. I'm not really used to them that much. But anyway, I want you to see this. Okay. And I'm hoping it's going to pick up on camera here. I can get to where I get outside here to probably show up a little better. Along in there, let's see if I can zoom in on it where you can see it. Oh, can't zoom in on this mode. All right, let's see. All right, you see that? You see that heads-up display shining right there? It says fuel level low, 0 miles an hour in reverse, neutral, drive. That's heads-up display, guys. That's heads-up display. That's what it does. You can kind of see it there. Zoom back in a little bit. That's heads-up display. Now, according to manufacturers of the cars, and according to my supplier, and according to my program that pulls up part numbers for these cars, you have to spend that extra money on the windshield. There's old Bumble hanging out, but according to them, you have to spend the extra money and buy that heads-up display windshield. It's a lie. It's a big fat lie. There you go. It's saying that it has the fuel levels low, 0 miles an hour in park. All that's doing like it's supposed to. Turn it off. All right, we're right back outside of it. All right, guys. So listen. If somebody tells you that, if you have, like I say, I haven't done any that I can remember, any other brands with heads-up display, but I know GM. I've done the pickups. I've done the Corvette. I've done that Envoy, Escalade, all that, and they do not have, you do not have to have that other part number. You can use the regular, plain old, I say plain old, it's not a cheap windshield in that Corvette, regardless. But you can use the, as long as it has all the other stuff, as long as it has everything but the heads-up display, you can use it. Get in here, show you. Alright, so you see those two part numbers. You got a 2026 is the one we put in there, and it has the just the regular stuff in it. Now 2627 says it has heads-up display with a rain sensor. Now come over here. One of them lists for $12.69. One of them lists for $11.64. The $11.64 is the one I put in it. 2026. All right. Now, I just want to prove to you guys, some people may say, oh no, but you see that? This is in the trash can. But you see that? It's upside down. That's HUD for heads up display. GM. You look down here, that's where all that stuff mounts. And on the internet and on my supplier and all that, it says that there's a rain sensor, but there's nothing there for that. So we ended up putting the 2026 in it, total for all of that ended up being $549.75. He'd already paid. He gave me $300 up front, so he owes $249.75. But I just pulled it up. The difference in those two windshields, between the heads-up display windshield and the non-heads-up display windshield, my cost was $220 extra for the heads-up display. So you're looking at $549.75. You add $220, that makes that $620 for the windshield instead of $400. That would have made his windshield $791.64 if we would have went with the one that says it has heads-up display. But as you guys saw, I showed you, his heads-up display works fine. Still reflects off the windshield just like it would have if I would have put that extra $220 windshield in there. Guys, I'm telling you, there's a bunch of stuff going on, a bunch of scam stuff. And I mean, I'm not a real educated person, but I've got street smarts, and I have common sense. When you look at the glass and it looks just like the other one, there's no texture to that glass where the heads-up display is. There's nothing different. If there was a texture or something like that, you know, like say the lane departure thing, you have to have that bracket. That rain sensor, it says it has rain sensor right there. So it says rain sensor for that 2027, and there was a sensor mounted up in there, but it wasn't able to look out of the windshield like most of them. Most of them have a clear circle, and that rain sensor can look out. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. You saw that it was all black across there for that. So even that, you wouldn't have to go with the other one. Save you some money. Just like I say, always get a second opinion. I mean, I know most people are not close by to me, but if you are in the area and you've got somebody telling you crazy stuff, get a second opinion. Come by here, let me look at it. I mean, hey, if they're telling you legit, go with it. But I had one lady call me, and she was wanting a price on a windshield, and her vehicle had the option of having lane departure or not having lane departure. And I said, okay, you know, I pulled it all up, and I was like, okay, does your car have lane departure? She said, no. I said, okay, no lane departure. And I gave her a price. And she said, when can you do it? And I said, well, I'll get them overnight. I can do it tomorrow. Next day she shows up. I put their windshield in, and she goes to pay for it, and she said, I want to thank you. I said, well, thank you for coming. She said, no. She said, not for doing the work, for believing in me when I told you, when I talked to you. And I said, okay. You know, I'm kind of puzzled trying to figure out what she's talking about. She said, everywhere else I called. She said, I called like 4 different other shops, and they asked me the same question, does it have lane departure? And I told them no. And they all said, oh yeah, your car has lane departure. And she's like, no, it don't. She's like, yeah, it does. It does. You just don't know it. Now, I have had customers come in and they tell me it doesn't have it, or it does have it. And then when the vehicle gets here, they were wrong. Okay? It happens. But I always believe the customer. If the customer tells me it don't, you know, I'll kind of walk them through. You know, is there a little triangle cut out up there? Or is there some kind of, you know, when you have your cruise control, does it try to control the car, stop whenever you get up behind somebody? Any of that kind of stuff is part of the lane departure system. Sometimes they're turned off, you know, just to be sure. And if I have any suspicion that they may not know what they're talking about, I'll order both, with and without, and I'll just send back whichever one I need. But this lady, you know, whenever I asked her, she didn't say, well, I don't know. You know, she was like, no, my car doesn't have that. So I took her word for it, and she was right. But all the other shops, like I say, she told me she had called either 3 or 4 other shops, and they had told her it does, you just don't know it. It really discouraged her. It really upset her that nobody was believing it. And I don't remember where she was from. She wasn't local, but she came to me because I believed her whenever she told me that. So take that, you know, in the same sense as what I'm trying to tell you here. Some glass shops will tell you something, and you know, you got to believe them, I guess. But on this specific thing, I know for a fact, I just proved it to you guys. This windshield is the 2026, which says, well, it doesn't say it has heads-up display. It should have the 2027. 2027 is the one with the heads-up display. It all works. It all works. So if you have a car like this, if you have a glass shop telling you that you gotta put this windshield in there, it's not gonna work, tell them, no, I'm gonna take it somewhere else. I'm gonna take it for a second opinion. You know, come see me. You know, I saved this guy over $200, you know, by putting the cheaper one in there. And I don't know how much I saved him compared to other shops. I know the other shops would have, and that's probably why he called. I mean, he called me and got the price. I told him how much it would be with or without, and he said it'll still work. And I said, yeah, it'll still work. And then I didn't hear from him for a couple of days, and I'm like, okay, he must have found somebody else that was cheaper. And he comes back by, and he was like, hey, when can you do that windshield? And I was like, well, I can do it tomorrow. I can get the windshield tonight. I can do it tomorrow. And he handed me $300. It's like, here, get it. You know, so I must have saved him some money. By not just trusting him, because like I say, he didn't know, but being honest and telling him, look, you don't have to put that one in there. It's up to you. I mean, I can put the one in there if you want to go all out. I can put that one in there. But if you're just wanting it to all work, I can put you this cheaper one in it. And it does the same thing. It all still works. All right, guys. This is probably a longer video than normal. I know I did a little rambling, but I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up. If somebody's trying to scam you around on that, get a second opinion. Give me a call. We can check it out. I'll tell you over the phone. Even if you're out of state and you know you've got a glass shop there, you know, and you just want a second opinion. Well, I say give me a call. I don't have my phone number on here, and but send me a message in the comments. Say, hey, I've got this kind of vehicle. You know, what kind of windshield is supposed to go in it? You know, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Anyway, all right, guys, have a safe one.